Should, you should be in good health, free from high blood pressure, heart, and neck problems.
We're going to be having so much fun out there, friends. We're going to be seeing so many animals that I almost feel like 20 minutes.
Bienvenidos a Kilimanjaro Safaris. Para su seguridad, permanezcan sentados y mantengan las manos, brazos, pies y piernas dentro del vehículo.
My friends off to the right hand side, please watch those hands, arms, feet, and legs. Those are going to be closing. Asante warning, and Asante does mean thank you, and now you're stuck with me. As we like to say here in Harambe, Tuende, which does mean let's go. Jumbo everyone, my name is Hunter, and I'm going to be your guide on this safari for this next 2 weeks. As a safety reminder, please keep seated at all times, and keep your hands, arms, feet, and legs in the vehicle, and hold on to any loose items as it does get pretty bumpy out there. Welcome everyone to the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. I hope you're as excited as I am, and everyone has brought their camping gear, because our 2-week adventure will be starting off in the Ituri Forest. Now in the Ituri Forest are a lot of animals that like to camouflage themselves, so try to keep an eagle eye sharp and see if we can find them. Over here to our right hand side, I am noticing this animal with zebra pants. That's going to be the okapi. Now, since they have those zebra pants, they're related to the giraffe. Very nice job. Very good job, Actor Explorer. They're the closest living relative to the giraffe. Now, one thing that is really, really cool about the okapis is they're one of the only mammals on this entire planet that can lick their ears. Even giraffes are unable to do that because their skulls are slightly longer. And for the first 2 months of their lives, they will not defecate. That is right, that is 4 times the length of this 2-week safari. They will not give away waste, so they will not get tracked down by predators. Over here to our right hand side, we're noticing this big bird. That's going to be the saddle-billed stork. They can grow up to about 5 feet tall, or just as tall as my mom is. With a wingspan of up to 9 feet wide, which is just as wide as this canopy is above you. Over here on the left-hand side, eating majestically, it does look like we're getting a great viewing of the black rhino. And the way you can tell it's the black rhino and not the white rhino is that black rhinos are much, much smaller, only weighing 3,000 pounds. That's it. They also have a triangular prehensile upper lip. Prehensile means that they can move it around at will. That will allow them to grab vegetation off the brush, and the Swahili word for them is kiparu. Over here on the left-hand side, the Hartman mountain zebras. And the way you can tell that they're Hartman mountain zebras is if you look at their bellies, they have a white underside, so their stripes will not wrap around their entire bodies. The Swahili word for zebra is punda malia. And that is a group of numbers seen coming up over here to our right-hand side. That's going to be called a dazzle. They also have a bit of extra skin at the base of their neck called a dewlap. That'll hold blood vessels in it that'll help them regulate their body temperatures as well. Now, a lot of animals on the reserve do have dewlaps, but they're the only species of zebra to have them. Here's some more over here to our right-hand side. Again, you can look at the white underside to really tell that they are the Hartman mountain zebras. Over here to our right-hand side, we are noticing 2 animals. The largest one of them over here to our right-hand side in that brush is going to be the largest antelope on the reserve, the eland. And the one with the grayish coat over here to our right-hand side is going to be the wildebeest. Now, there are parts here in Africa where they are called mews, based off of a sound they make that sounds like mew mew and is spelled G-N-U. Who knew? They also have scent glands in their eyes and hooves that help them tell which direction that they are migrating toward when they migrate in numbers of, get this, 1.5 million. Now, here to our right-hand side, we are noticing another eland. This one's going to be a female. The one back there was a male. I can tell that due to the reddish coloring that she has over here, and the males have a bit more of a tannish coloring. During mating season, the males will make a flower crown off of twigs, branches, and sometimes flowers to help impress the females. But if the females are unimpressed, she'll knock it off its head and tell them to start over. Over here to your left and right hand sides, I am noticing some more baobab trees. If you notice with that first baobab tree we saw from a few days ago, it doesn't have any leaves. And that's because for up to 9 months of the year, it will not have any. Oh, and over here to our left-hand side, we are getting a great viewing of some African elephants. Now, the way that we can tell that those are African elephants is because we're in Africa. But also because of those ears, which are loosely shaped like the continent of Africa. Very good observation back there, explorer. And they use those great big ears of theirs to push air on their backs. And that air can get all the way up to about 15 degrees colder than the surrounding. Out here, we like to call that ear conditioning. And the Swahili word for elephant is tembo. They also only have 6 teeth, and the 2 tusks that you see sticking out of their head are 2 of them. There's actually 2 names for a group of elephants, one being a parade, or my personal favorite, a memory. Now coming over here to the left-hand side, I do believe I heard an explorer back there say that they found some greater flamingos. The way you can tell the difference between the greater and the lesser flamingo is that the greater flamingo is bigger and often a bit paler. But both sets of flamingos get their pink coloring from the strip that they eat, specifically from a protein called beta-carotene. Oh, if you look at that, the island they're standing on kind of looks kind of familiar. Oh, a great job, explorer. That kind of does look like Mickey. Now, when flamingos are first born, they'll start with a grayish color, and it'll actually take them a few years to get that pink coloring, this being just as pink as they will get. And this is a group of flamingos. A group will be called a flamboyance. Well, we've seen a lot of animals so far, so let's flamingo over here and find some more. Oh, and it does look like I'm seeing something. This is going to be very exciting for everyone. If you look off to the left-hand side, on the ground, you'll notice a mud pit. Now, a lot of animals like to wallow or roll around in mud pits like that, and that'll help them for a couple of different reasons. The elephants are much too large to do that, so they have this cool finger-like extension at the end of their trunks that they'll often use to pick it up and throw it on their backs. That'll help them cool off their bodies, help ward off insects, but most importantly, help protect their skin from the sun, as elephants do have very, very sensitive skin. And they are pachyderms as well, which is a Greek word meaning thick skin. Oh, and it looks like over here to our left-hand side, I'm spotting some cheetahs. Cheetahs are the fastest land animals on the planet, reaching speeds of up to 60 miles per hour. They can reach that speed in about 3 seconds, but they can't sustain it for long, only about a few hundred yards or so. Now, although they are big, they are not considered part of the big cat family, and that's because they do not roar, but instead they'll make a chirping sound. And that is a group of cheetahs would be called a coalition. They also have a pair of non-retractable claws, so from a human's perspective, it's kind of like having a permanent pair. One animal is going to be the bongo. They have white stripes that run down their backs. That'll help them blend into the vegetation as they move around through the forest, acting kind of like the rays of sun that come through the leaves and touch the ground. So I like to call them the little rays of sunshine. Well, I'm also noticing over here to the left-hand side, the animal with the grayish coloring, that's going to be the greater kudu. And those ones are females over there. I can tell that because they don't have horns like males will. Well, that's been an awesome first 2 days of our journey. I think for our next 2 days, I'll bring us down to the Safi River. A lot of animals in the Safi like to be in the waters or by the bank. As we're passing by, let's take a look in those regions. We could be seeing some animals. Well, I'm noticing a white bird over here to our right-hand side. This is going to be the pink-backed pelican. In the water looks like some Nile hippopotamus. Now, that pink-backed pelican will always have that pink back, but during mating season, it'll get especially pink. Kind of in the same vein that you would blush at a crush. And they are colonial nesters, meaning they can nest 20 to 500 pairs. Now, over here to your left-hand side, we are getting another view of that Nile hippopotamus. The Nile hippo can weigh all the way up to about 5,500 pounds. They are a very territorial animal, and the Swahili word for them is kiboko. And that is a group from over here. A group of hippos would be called a float. Now, hippos can't swim, but they do prefer to walk on the bed of the river. And while they're underwater, they can hold their breath for all the way up to about 8 minutes. Now, sometimes hippos will fall asleep underwater, and if they were to do that, they'll subconsciously come up for air every 8 minutes. So they don't need to wake up to get that fresh breath of air. And sometimes when you look at a hippo, it looks like they're glowing pink. That is actually due to their sweat coloring. It has a reddish hue. And they also have specialized teeth on their bottom jaws called incisors that can grow all the way up to about 18 inches long. Oh, crikey! Speaking of teeth, over here looks like we're looking at some Nile crocodiles. The Swahili word for crocodile is mamba. My friends try to keep seated at all times. I don't think it's so hard to see them, we can try to give them a standing ovation a little later. But they have the strongest bite force in the animal kingdom. Although they have that powerful bite, they'll often put their eggs in their mouth gently and move them around. That'll help induce hatching. They can also grow 16 to 18 feet long, which is roughly just as long as a giraffe is tall. And can weigh all the way up to about 500 pounds. And that wraps up the first 4 days of our journey. I think, though, for the next week, I'll bring us up to the savanna, as it's nice, wide and open, and there are tons of animals. But now coming over here to our right-hand side, we are getting a great viewing of the baobab tree. And a lot of animals in the reserve like to eat the bark of the baobab tree because it's spongy and contains a lot of water. How much water, you may be asking? Tens and thousands of gallons of it. Now here's my personal favorite area, the savanna. As you're taking a look around, you'll notice that there aren't a lot of trees. So the animals here will not be using camouflage, but instead be using their speed. Now sometimes you will find an animal in the brush, but more often than not, that'll help them cool off their bodies, as just like it is today, it is very hot out here. I am noticing this animal over here to our right hand side with the great big horns. That's going to be the Ankole cattle. Now sometimes they're also called Watusi cattle as well, based off the tribe here in Africa, first able to domesticate them, and that is the Watusi tribe. And that was a part of their culture that the more cattle that you had, the richer you were. And I don't have any cattle. And these guys have been domesticated for so long that they even show up on ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. Their horns can reach 3 to 4 feet long each, or 6 feet from tip to tip. And although they are big, they are not heavy. That's because they have a honeycomb-like structure on the inside, which allows them to remain lightweight. It also allows blood vessels to move through so they can regulate their body temperature. It's kind of like a built-in AC. Now coming over here to your left and right hand side, you might notice these mud structures that are sticking up out of the ground. Those are actually termite mounds. And termite mounds are made of mud, dirt, and sometimes dung. And when fully constructed, they'll be just as hard as concrete. So a lot of animals like to use them as scratching posts. Now inside there are many, many chambers. The largest one is the royal chamber, and that's where the queen termite lives. Her main job is to lay 30,000 eggs every day. Now here to the left hand side, we are getting a great view of some zebras. Those are going to be of cleats on. Swahili word for them is duma. Well, seeing those cheetahs means that we have entered predator territory. Ooh. As we're driving around, I do know a lot of predators like to hang out on rocks such as this to look over the grass and look out for prey. And it does look like we're looking at a male lion over here to our left-hand side, joined by a lioness or a female lion. That male lion will have that mane. That mane can weigh all the way up to about 40 pounds. It'll help protect his neck from predators and also other lions. No, there is a lioness or a female lion. The lioness will often do the hunting for the pride, a pride-mating group of lions, and they often hunt in groups because they're slower than their prey. The hunting will also take place during the evening and nighttime when their eyesight is better. Now, has anybody on board ever seen the live-action Lion King? Anyone on board seen live action? Ooh, very nice. Did you guys see Mufasa in that movie by chance? Well, if you guys seen the live action Lion King, if you look over to that male lion over there, that is actually the same model and animation used for him. So he's actually a little bit of a celebrity over here. Now you may have noticed that those lions over there were resting. They can sleep for up to 18 hours a day, and I ain't lying. The lion's roar is also so loud that it can be heard from up to 6 miles away. And the Swahili word for lion is Simba. That is right, friends. In the Lion King, they named a lion Lion. Oh, over here to our right-hand side, a little further off, those animals that kind of look like deer are water bugs. They're characterized by a white ring that surrounds their tush, and there is a myth surrounding the water bug that that white behind glows in the dark. But that is false. It's just because they produce an oil on their coat that gives it, light color so pure that at nighttime it's very easily seen. Oh, here's an awesome sighting as well. Over here to our right-hand side, you'll notice some ostrich eggs. Now, ostrich eggs are incredibly strong. A grown 300-pound ostrich could stand on top of them, and they would not break. And they're also the largest eggs to be laid by any bird species. The ostrich, Swahili word for them is muni. Well, that's been an awesome week and a half so far on our journey. As we're driving around through this part of Africa, I am noticing the warden's post. The warden likes to protect the animals and keep the reserve clean. As we're driving around through the warden's post, you might notice a yellow triangular structure hanging out in front of their home that actually houses a beehive in it. Now, there are problems here in Africa where elephants were getting hurt and poached because they were trampling onto farmers' crops. But we have actually found that through research that if you put a beehive near your fence, the elephants will stay away about 80% of the time, saving both the farmers' crops and the elephants. And that conservation is called the Elephants and Bees Project. Now, the Swahili word for thank you is asante. So we can all say asante warden for helping protect the elephants. Asante warden. It is a lot of hard work to protect all those animals, and I'm sure they appreciate it very much to those who said thank you. Ready, everybody? Alrighty, ready for our last day of our 2-week trek. I'm gonna head back to the village of Harambe. We got to see a lot of cool animals on our expedition, such as the Duma and Simba, or cheetahs and lions. As we're leaving here, remember a lot of these animals are endangered. And we can help protect these animals by teaching friends that go on hiking and camping trips, or if we wanted to, head over to the zoo and the aquarium. That'll help us respect the wildlife and their homes. Now, there are ways that we can protect them today. We can start by recycling. You can also recycle your used electronics, as there's a metal inside there called coltan. And if you were to recycle it, that means that we don't have to dig it up here in Africa to move other animals' homes. Let's take this time to look around the cabin. We're going to be heading up to our departure gate here in just a few moments. We don't want to be forgetting any loose items on our truck. So as we were doing so, I would like everybody to look left, everybody look right, and remember that every Disney ride ends in merchandise. Thank you, thank you. Now here in Harambe, we do not like to say goodbye because that is far too sad and far too final. So here we like to say Kwaherini, which means go well. So go well, go wild, and enjoy the rest of your time while you're here with us. If you guys have any questions, ask my friends off to the right-hand side, and they can answer those questions for you. As our motto here is, our windows are always open, because we can't close them. Oh! My friends on